Washington, D.C. right now. So I'm quite far away from LA, but I trust that y'all are doing well. Um, Back in LA, back at home. It's going to be a great year. So I'm super excited to talk about how your goals went after we talked about them last year, how you're feeling about this year. I actually want to get a sense of what y'all are looking forward to in this new year. If you all are able to hop into the chat, and I want to hear at least one thing you're excited about in 2026. It could be about YC, it could be about your life, it could be about anything. What is exciting about 2026? Pop it in the chat. I want to read about it. I want to be excited with y'all too. Put it in the chat. I want to see some chat. I want to see if everyone's alive in this new year. Right now, I'm not seeing anything besides from YC staff. So, what are y'all excited about in 2026? All right. Soraya's like going into college, new adventures, traveling more, graduating, meeting new people, traveling. Many people are traveling. That's awesome to see, graduating high school. Yeah, I'm excited to see what colleges y'all get into as well. Dang, Brenda, you're going to Japan? That's sweet. I'm super excited for you. I hope you make it out there real soon. Arlene's excited for senior year. I love it. There's so much to be excited about in this new year, and I'm super excited to help y'all prepare for what this year has in store with some great goals to help you get there, and make sure that you all are ready for it. And so, Happy New Year, everyone. It's good to see you. Let's get this kicked off. We have some announcements to share. I'm not sure who's going to do it first. Uh, is it you, Kim? Is it Sheila? Is it you? Who's going to share our first announcements?
It's gonna be Kim.
All right, Kim, take it away.
All right, for the announcement, please don't forget to submit your workbook and survey. Make sure to submit it Friday before 5 p.m. And also, make sure to, if you are an alumni, please put alumni before your name. And if you're also student leader, please put SL before your name. And make sure to notify us if you cannot open your cameras. And if you can, please open your camera. And that's very important for participation points. That's it. I'm going to pass it on to Joseph.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Kim. Yeah, so this is going to be a great second semester of you champions this year. I would love to get your participation to make this the best experience for us all. And so let's jump into the slides and let's talk about mindset. And so we talked a little bit about mindset last year, and we're going to continue talking about it this year briefly because mindset is so important to how we live our lives and how we're able to accomplish our goals. And so I want to make sure that you're able to get this year going the right way by making sure you have the right mindset to win, fundamentally. And every single one of you have the ability to win because y'all are champions. And so I want to jump in and just get it going with what we're going to review today. And I would love some help in this next slide to read about some of the learning objectives here today. And so I want some help. Mario, do you mind coming off mute and reading these three learning objectives for this year or for this week to kick us off in this new year?
Reflection on last semester's key concepts and identify which lessons had the biggest impact and how they are applied in real life. Recognize how vision, smart goals, and WOW turns big ideas into action, and review past goals to see what helped or challenged your progress. Understand how a growth mindset supports stepping outside your comfort zone and commit to the focus, habits, and attitude needed to grow over the next 12 weeks.
Awesome. Thank you, Mario, for helping us go over our learning objectives for the day. Um, and be one of the first students to speak in this new year here in this class. So we're going to talk a lot about sort of what we talked about last year around mindset, because it's so critical for us to make sure that you have the right goals and uh, the right perspective to turn your ideas into action. If we go to the next slide, some of you might be reading this and thinking about like, this all sounds super familiar. And if you do think that, that's great, because you're right. A lot of this is what we talked about last year, where we talked about a number of things in this past, in last semester to make sure that you're prepared for the future and for your lives. Like the first thing that we talked about in mindset is thinking like a champion, getting ready to grow, and really having that mindset to know that, you know, you can fail but you can also get up again and learn from that. We also learned about critical thinking from becoming really aware of like, are we living the lives that we want? And if not, you know, what would it take for us to live the lives that we want while shifting into awareness and being intentional about how we want to spend our time, our energy, and being able to really think about what are the questions I want to get answered in life? Like, how do I really think about like, is this what I ought to be doing? Is this the thing that I really want to be spending my time in? Or like, where does my curiosity lead me to really want to think about? We also talked a lot about financial literacy, starting with like how to buy a car. You know, what is a loan? And how to start thinking about like if you wanted to start a business or if you wanted to get your life going, what are the set of things to think about in taking out a loan? What are the risks? You know, we did a lot of thinking about that. For business skills, we talked about, you know, how to really get started by recovering from failure faster. Also advocating for yourself by stop waiting and start asking for what you want. As we shifted over to thinking about like how do you really get to your goals, we talked about goal setting and time management with this concept of big hairy audacious goals, which are these goals that are like big and very much hard to achieve, that you may not know all the steps to do that, but you know you have a dream and aspiration to get to, and then how to prioritize your time to get to that goal. And we stopped and we ended the last semester thinking about character and building a life of character and really thinking about, you know, what does it look like to have positive self-esteem to make sure that you can also be a positive influence on those around you. So we talked about a ton of things in this past year. And I want to give you a moment to think about like which one of these stuck out to you. I want to hear from a couple of you on, you know, did mindset stick out to you? Did character stick out to you? Which one of these amazing topics that we went through last year stuck out to you? And I want to see like why they stuck out to you if you can remember them. And so we'd love to hear from a couple of you. And I'm going to kick it off with calling on Omar to get a sense from him on like which one of these topics stuck out to you from last semester and why. Omar, share with us.
For me, I thought the mindset was very important in the character and the business skills, but I think a specific lesson I remember was the sales that can be very important because even though it may seem like um, they're pushy, I think it gives us like a growth mindset. Even though we might not get everyone to agree or purchase the thing where we want them to buy, um, we still ask regardless of the outcome, and I think it pushes us to try regardless of failure.
Yeah, I think that's really good. Like we talked about sales last semester. Great job remembering that. Really, the ability to advocate for yourself and ask for what you want is super critical in every facet of life. And so, thanks for sharing, Omar. Why don't you pick on someone else to share what they took away and what stuck with them last semester?
Mm. Gianna.
Hey, something that stuck with me last semester was the mindset one. I think that's just because like transitioning to my first semester of college, it was really easy to get like let down by something so minor. So having a good mindset and especially a growth mindset really helped push me through the semester.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, I'm sorry you had a challenging semester, but I'm glad that you overcame at the same time. And I think having a great mindset is going to help you in every challenge that you have in life. And so I hope that you continue to apply that in this next semester, which will have some sort of challenges, some that you know already, some that you don't, but you have everything within you to really go and like figure out how to achieve from that point. Thanks, Kiana, for sharing. Why don't you pick on someone else to share what stuck with them?
Johanna?
Um, well, for me, what really stuck out to me would probably be like the goal setting and the time management. Because since like right now I'm in my senior year, I kind of been using that more for like this semester and the previous semester too, to like help me manage better my time, especially with like all the college apps that I had to do. And like also with like the new year that's starting right now, like I've been trying to like set more goals and like trying to find ways on how to like actually achieve those goals.
Yeah. Do you have a goal in mind that you're trying to achieve?
Well, right now it's more like kind of just trying to save my money since like after I graduate, I'm gonna be going on a trip, and I think I'm like slowly like saving that money so I can like pay off the trip and also like just bring money with me when I'm over there.
Yeah, I think a number of you wanted to travel in this upcoming year, and it doesn't come for free. And so I think that, yeah, having a great goal to be able to go and like figure out how to get the money for the trip, where to go on this trip, it's a fun goal to have. And so thanks for sharing, Johanna. Um, and so thank you for sharing on what stuck with you. There is a ton of things that is great to really like to think about, to review. Um, and today, we're going to focus a little bit more on mindset because I think everything comes back to really having a strong foundation of thinking the right way about who you are, what you can achieve, and how to get there. And so everyone says that your worst enemy is yourself. And so many times it's yourself that holds you back. And so I want to help you have the right perspective to make sure that everything that we learn in this upcoming semester is going to be from a great foundation that starts with a great mindset. So I want to actually pop into a video from an inspirational speaker and his perspective on life. Some of you might know him. He sings like songs and stuff. He's Pitbull. And so I want to show you sort of how Pitbull thinks about mindset. And so we can go to the video. Would love to share a couple of words from Pitbull himself.
And I tell people this all the time, there's no future in cool. That's a trend, that's a fad. It comes and it goes, just like dope money. Dope money comes quick and leaves quicker, okay? We're here for a slow, but a for show. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Paso corto, vista larga, which is short steps, long vision. And I tell people this all the time, there's no future in cool. That's a trend, that's a fad. It comes and it goes, just like dope money. Dope money comes quick and leaves quicker, okay? We're here for a slow, but a for show. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Paso corto, vista larga, which is short steps, long vision.
All right. Thanks for playing that video. And so I wanted to really talk about, having a long vision for your life. And so in that, I think that, what Pitbull said, have a long vision, but also plan for the short steps in life. And that's so much of what we're going to talk about today. What is the vision that you have for your life? How are you walking towards that? And what are the tools that you need to be able to get to that? And all of that is what we're going to talk about today as we look at mindset one more time. We're going to dive in and let's talk about sort of the tools that we've talked about before. And let's do a brief review on that. So let's hop back into the slides and let's go to slide 4. All right. So vision and goal setting. Let's talk about it. So if we can go to the next step, I want to talk about, starting with a clear vision, which provides direction and purpose. And so in that, it's really important to really know, where you're going. Like if you, are trying to get somewhere, it's super critical to know, where you're going. And then from there, chart the course towards that. And so what people said, have a long vision. He has a perspective in his mind on like, what is the best, where does he want to be, in 12 months, in 5 years, things like that. And with, a perspective and a North Star, you can actually chart the course to be able to get there. But a lot of that comes down to like why, like what is that convincing why on your purpose of why you want to get to that point. What I shared with you last semester before we ended, for the year was that like my desire is to like have a business because I want to be able to help people, in my life, with the skills that I have. And so that's part of my purpose. And I know sort of the direction I want to go. But that's like the vision that I want to have. Like, I want to be an employer one day. I want to help people grow in their careers and I want to help people solve some of their problems. And so let's go to, if we can do next. Awesome. Thanks. And so, like, how do we get there? Like, how do we go from, a vision to being able to go and, find our way there? And so part of the vision is having this thing called uh, BHAG, or big, hairy, audacious goal, which is something that helps you reach towards and pushes you out of your comfort zone. And so part of being able to grow is really getting out of your comfort zone, really being able to say, like, I have skill sets that I may not have used in this particular way, but I'm going to work, just a little bit harder to get to that next level because I really want to accomplish my dream. Your dream might be, I want to get to a university. And that might be something that you don't know how to do, but you have this big dream of being able to have a great career, and that university is one step out of that. And you're gonna have to hustle for that. It doesn't come for free. You gotta put in the applications. You gotta understand like what does it take to get there. And like this big dream that you have for yourself, whether it be to go to university, to go to trade school, to just make money through real estate, whatever your dream might be, it's not going to come easy. And I think in that, these big, hairy, audacious goals, really get you to think about, you know, how do I get there? And like, how do I then put, all my effort together to reach towards that? Last semester, we talked about this idea of SMART goals. SMART goals are a type of goal that really help you get to achieving your big, hairy, audacious goal, and is a step in really getting to the direction that you want to go towards. And so, in that, SMART goal is specific. It is measurable, it is achievable, it is relevant, and it is time bound. And they make goals manageable and trackable. And so, for example, a SMART goal could be that I want to get a perfect score on the SAT. Perfect score is 1600, which is like measurable. Is it achievable? Yes. If you put practice into that, it is achievable. Is it relevant? If you wanted to go to university, it's highly relevant to be able to have those tests done. And like, because you only have so much time to be able to like achieve that score, for instance, it's time bound. That is a very specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound goal that you can have if your goal is to get to university. If your goal is to like make a business, it could be that I want to be able to achieve 3 customers, within this 2026. And so for me, that's very specific. It's measurable. It's 3 customers. Is it achievable? Probably. It's not 1 million customers. It's 3, and it's relevant to my own goal as well. And so in that, the more specific you can be, the more clear you can be, the better off you're going to be able and working towards getting to where you want to go next. And so I want to be able to, give you some food for thought. What makes it easier or harder to stay focused on your goal? And so I want you all to pop into the chat and answer this question. What makes it easier or harder to focus on your goal? And so I just dropped the question into the chat. I want to get some ideas from you all. What makes it easier or harder to stay focused on your goals? All right, I'm seeing some great answers in the chat. Thank you for sharing. Keep it coming. There's over 25 of you in this. I want to see a lot more answers from y'all. All right, I'm seeing some things that make it hard are distractions, procrastination, video games, things that make it easier, having support, a counselor, a good planner and a guide, support from family, from friends. Yeah, this is all great. Um, Matthew, I'm curious. Like, tell me more about a planner. Like, what does that look like for you, and why is it helpful?
So like when you have like a goal, right? You need to like make steps. So like what I said, like planner, that's like having like a list of steps you could take in order to complete that goal.
Yeah, I think in that it is setting out a set of steps to chart your trajectory to the goal that you want to achieve. Thanks for sharing that. Um, Chrysalin, I hope I said your name right. You mentioned, pushback in that. Like, what does that mean to you? And, you know, how has it held you back in the past?
Mm, Just like a pushback that's related to your goal. So, for example, wanting to get experience working in a certain field. So you apply for a program related to that field, but you don't get in. So I think that kind of like, well, it depends, I guess, on your mentality as well. So how you take it. But some might see it as a setback and just feel like their goal is harder to reach. Um, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for real. I think it's like nothing ever goes completely to plan. And so you're going to face some things that are challenging, some things that you didn't expect. And it is hard to, when you encounter those moments. But I think that's why like mindset is so important. You have a strong vision and you have a desire to work towards that. A pushback is just one moment in a long journey, towards that vision. And so, I think that's why it's so important to think about, the why behind the goal that you have. And so thanks for sharing, that example with us. I want to go to a workbook question and give you some time for yourself to think about, you know, last year. So if you can go to the next slide, uh, it, if you go to your workbooks, we have the opportunity, and I want to give you a minute to think about, describe a goal you set in the last year and talk about, how did it go? Did it go well? If it went well, what are some of the things that helped it go well? If it didn't go well, what are some challenges that you faced? And I want to talk about it afterwards. So let's take a minute to think about a goal you had in the last year and talk about how it went. And so take a minute to do that. All right. I hope that was enough time to think about, the goal that you set last year and do an honest review of how you think it went. Would love to hear from Soraya. what is a goal that you had last year and how did it go? Dry, are you there? All right. I guess Soraya's not there. Um, Getty, what was your goal? And how did it go?
My goal I set in last year was to read 30 books the whole year, and
Wow.
I managed to finish 24 books.
Wow. That's really impressive to read that many books in 1 year. What motivated that goal? Why did you want to read 30 books?
I just wanted to spend some time enjoying fiction books because I really like reading about thriller and mystery books.
Nice. I love that that's something that you enjoy to do. Thanks for sharing that with us. Why don't you pick someone else to share how it went for them?
Montserrat.
Um, Wait, is the question the one about describing a goal?
Yeah.
Okay, a goal I set last year was to finish my college application, so for like UC and Cal States at like a certain deadline and date. At first, I was doing good with my time management skills or like tactics, but then like once I got to the technical stuff, such as like writing my PIQs, I kind of like procrastinated a bit and I kind of like got delayed with my deadline. However, like I still was able to finish in time. So that's how it went.
Yeah. And did you get everything submitted that you wanted to?
Yeah, I did just in time. So I'm proud of
Yeah.
myself for that.
Yeah, I'm proud of you too. That's awesome to hear. I know that, sometimes things are a little slow in the middle, but I'm glad that you pushed through and you got it done. Um, why don't you pick one more person to share how their goal went this past year?
I'll choose Nelsie.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so my goal last year was to pass all my classes with A's, and I did.
Really? You got all A's? That's awesome. What motivated you to choose that goal?
Well, I know that finishing senior year off is very important, and I felt like I was working hard enough that I knew I could do it, but it was still like something that was challenging for me in the first place.
Yeah. It's always challenging to get perfect like straight A's. And so I'm glad that you haven't like stepped off the pedal even though it's your senior year. And so great job. That's awesome to hear. And so I think that it sounds like a lot of you had goals. Everyone that shared, decently had, a goal that they got really close to achieving, which is great. And I think that it's important to know that even if you didn't achieve your goal, you learned probably something about yourself in trying to achieve that goal. And you got close to something versus like not having a goal, not getting closer to it. And so I think that you miss every shot you don't take, and every goal that you don't work towards, you know, doesn't bring you closer to what you want. And so goals are a way to set the next step towards the thing that you want to get towards. And I think it's great to have, you all try in that. So thanks for sharing, everyone that did. Let's move on to the next slide to talk more about mindset. And so a number of you, I think Omar kicked off by saying, having a growth mindset, was super important to have. Or I think in that, uh, sorry, it was not Omar, it was another person. But, in that, we're going to talk about growth mindset and expanding your comfort zone. And so, you know, getting out of your comfort zone is what channels growth. And growth helps us become individuals that are ready, to take on harder things in the future. And this concept of a growth mindset, was coined by this Stanford researcher named Carol Dweck, which really uh, help the world understand that believing that your abilities can improve through effort, learning, and persistence, that the person that you are today doesn't need to be the person that you're going to be tomorrow. You can grow and really, step out of your comfort zone to be able to become a person that's even better than who you are today. And that's a proven, you know, point of science that she showed us that so much, of your life can really change if you have a growth mindset. And part of having a growth mindset, is being able to, get out of your comfort zone. Staying in your comfort zone may feel safe, but it prevents you from discovering your true potential or developing new skills. Each time you try something new or difficult, your brain forms stronger neural connections, which literally means that it rewires to learn faster and handle challenges better. And so each of your brains are still developing. It's amazing to really have that be a fact in science that you can rewire your brain so much easier now than you'd be like 10 or 20 years from now. And so this is the best time to grow and fail and recover and really build that muscle up because it's going to help you learn faster and handle challenges better. Failure and discomfort are not signs of weaknesses. They're indicators that growth is happening. The more you feel discomfort, the more confident and capable you become, you know. And so you may fail, in taking a step in a direction, and you may feel uncomfortable, in that process. But the fact that you stepped out of your comfort zone to try something new, is growth or a signal of growth in itself. And so by setting stretch goals, goals that feel slightly beyond your current ability, you can actually train your mind to embrace challenges and build resilience over time. And so in this upcoming year, you're going to face challenges that I don't even know about. But I know that life is not easy and every year comes with new challenges. But every single one of you have the potential to have a growth mindset, to stretch yourself, to grow, and to recover from failure. And know that the discomfort that you're feeling is not like something that's going to kill you, but something that's going to grow you. And so, in that, I think it's very important to think about moments where that's been true. And so every single one of you at this point in life have, overcome a challenge, and I want to make sure that you know that you can overcome more challenges in the future. And so I want to go to the next workbook question and give you a moment to think about a recent moment where you chose comfort over challenge. And I mean, if you can rewind that moment, what small risk could you have taken instead, and how might that help you grow? And so um, a lot of us have a lot of moments where, we chose not challenge, and that's maybe fine in the moment. But I'm curious to hear, like, if you were to choose challenge, you know, and rewind that moment, what is a small thing you could have taken instead, and how might have that helped you grow? And so take a minute to think about this question, put a response in your workbook, and we'll talk about it with our peers afterwards. Let's take a minute to do this. All right. Um, I want us to get a little vulnerable with each other and actually break you all into breakout rooms to talk with your fellow peers, to share, of one of the moments that if you could go back and rewind, what's a small risk that you could have taken that would have helped you grow? And so I want you all to hop in these rooms and start sharing your responses to this. And if you're a student leader or alumni facilitating that, I want you to look for common themes. I would love to hear them after we all come back from these rooms. And so take 4 minutes to share with your peers and your fellow champions. And I would love to see how that went afterwards. So let's take 4 minutes to talk about this in our groups.
All right. See you guys later.
See you later. Can you share this to the breakout room, Kim? Thank you.
Done. We have,
Is,
yeah. I think,
is
where's Will?
Will, are you here? Oh, she's jumping now. I think she jumped already.
I think she needs to go to room 5
Mm,
with Sumaya.
Samaya. Oh, actually,
Mhm.
we have Amanda here. Amanda, would you like to go to room 5?
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and assign
Awesome.
room 5. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Ooh, it's going great so far, Joseph. Love it.
Yeah,
Your,
I think
your
it's
class is always great.
oh, I hope so. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Last semester is a little different. I'm trying some new things this semester. So um we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think they are participative last semester, but I think they have so much drive now, I guess. And I
Yeah.
love the fact that speaking up and like sharing all of their thoughts, which is amazing.
Yeah. I
Yay!
feel more comfortable with them and I think maybe similarly. So we'll see how this breakout room goes.
Yay! I was about to tell you that we have new students, but I was like, oh yeah, this is level 2. We didn't assign new students to level 2.
Okay.
Yeah, we did have new ones.
Uh,
Did you have any alternate students who attended this cohort, Kim, but not really from this cohort?
I'm not sure because I'm not doing the attendance. I
Oh
think we
yeah,
need to ask Will. Yeah.
I got used to you doing the attendance. I forgot you're not
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He always does the attendance, Joseph, when we're together.
yeah.
Like when we uh morning classes, but like yeah, I get used to her doing it. How are you? How was your Christmas?
It was too short. It was really nice, but I like cooked for my family. I like hang out with friends. It was just really nice to like have that time with everybody, but it's always too short. It doesn't feel like it happened, you know?
Yeah, actually, I can relate to that, but Kim and I have the same thoughts about Christmas. I am so happy I get to spend Christmas with my family after 4 years of not spending it together.
Oh
Because
my
I live
gosh.
6 hours away from them. But Christmas is very expensive. Last year, I was like, it got way expensive, right, Kim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially that my family friends get doubled after I got married.
Oh yeah, that's even harder to manage.
Yeah.
It's really hard to manage. Yeah. Unlike before, I used to sub during when I was in the corporate world. I used to work during holidays, December 25,
Oh
December
my gosh.
31st. Now I
Yeah.
now understand. I now understand.
In a corporate here, Joseph, we don't get to have those off, especially when you're in a call center. But I'm so glad Michelle gave that off to us. Like, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a gift, especially when that's
It,
not normal.
hmm It is a gift. Okay, they're coming back now.
All
Oh,
right.
I'm back.
They're literally waiting till the very last second to come back. Hello,
Hopefully that
everyone.
means that the conversation was good. Welcome back,
Yeah.
everyone. Um, we had so many breakout rooms this time, so hopefully it was better in a smaller group. But if it was not the best, we'd love to hear that in your survey as well too. But I would love to hear from a couple of you on how the breakout room went, and what were some common things that you saw. Um, Brenda, did you lead a breakout room, and do you have something to share from them?
Yeah. Something that like me and my group were kind of talking about was like fear and how that kind of held us back for a little bit. But like now that we realize like it would have been better if we had just tried something new, like we would have done things differently, basically.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I'm curious, like if you felt fear in your goal that you chose comfort over, like, can I get a sense of from that in your emoji reactions? Like, why don't you, if you felt fear, show me your emoji reaction as one of the reasons why you didn't do that. Well, I oftentimes feel fear as well, Johanna. So thank you for being vulnerable in that way. Hopefully, someone else felt that too, but they didn't have time to smash an emoji. But Johanna, how did your room go?
For us, it was kind of like the same thing as Brenda had said. Like we were just kind of more in the shyer side, and we were really capable of taking like those extra steps and trying something new.
Wait, so it was more around fear too?
Yeah, it was like yeah, the same thing as what Brenda had said.
Ah, all right. That's interesting because no one else put an emoji reaction around that. But yeah, I think there's so much of fear that keeps us from trying something new, and pushing us to choose comfort. And so I certainly resonate with that. I'm curious to hear, like Jennifer Gomez, like how was your room? Like, what did you all think about? What were some common themes that you saw there?
For Owen, it was mostly about like being scared to speak up in order to avoid conflict and like say something wrong.
Yeah, it's a fear of conflict when speaking up. I think I feel that a ton too. And so I'm curious, in the second part of the question, how did you think about, what was some of the steps that your room thought about to help you get over that, and how might have that helped you grow?
Someone said to like step out of the comfort zone because we can like learn lessons from like speaking up and we can also gain confidence.
Yeah, I think that's right. Like being able to step out of your comfort zone can definitely help you gain confidence in whatever comes next. So I'm glad that y'all identified that, and I hope that next time, when you all come up to situations where you could choose comfort or you could try, to try something new, and to push out of your comfort zone. I hope that you would choose to grow. And so thank you for sharing with us. And thanks for sharing with your fellow peers as well. I want to make sure that you all can have a time to talk to one another, get to know each other, and ultimately grow together as well too, and encourage one another in that process. So as I mentioned, so much of what we're going to talk about in this upcoming semester, comes from a place of you being ready to grow and you choosing to grow. And so we go to um, the next slide. We have, this idea of being able to set up well for this second semester. So, as I mentioned, we have 12 weeks together, and how you think will shape what you experience and what you achieve here at the Youth Champions and in your life. So, mindset is so important, and it starts from preparing your mind. Before any major journey, success begins by deciding who you want to be and how you'll show up to get there. The next 12 weeks are an opportunity to practice growth, not perfection. Every challenge or mistake is a chance to improve and to grow. You know, Intentional focus helps you get the most out of each workshop and field trip, and what you pay attention to um, grows stronger. And so, we're going to talk about finance. We're going to talk about investments. We're going to talk about goal setting, business skills again, and what you want to grow in is going to, and really being able to focus on that is going to help you get there faster. And in everything we're going to talk about, everything that we're going to push you to do and try, you're going to feel resistance. And when you feel resistance, remember that discomfort is a signal of progress, not a reason to stop. The most successful champions are those that stay curious, engaged, and consistent, even when motivation fades. And so it's like Tuesday afternoon. You may not feel like this is the best time to learn something new, but as long as you show up, as long as you stay curious, engaged, you're definitely going to grow. And so we have a ton of great information to share with you in this upcoming semester. And I hope that you're going to be excited to be able to get there as well. And so, we started with Pitbull sharing, having a long vision and figuring out the steps to get there as part of achievement. And so I want to give you a chance to think about who you want to be, in 12 weeks. It's not a super long vision, but it's pretty long from now. 12 weeks from now, that is 3 months. So that is roughly April timeframe, late March, early April timeframe. So in late March, early April, who do you want to be? And what is the mindset you will need to practice each week to get there? And so I want to give you a minute and 30 questions to dream. Who do you want to be in March/April? And what mindset will you need to practice each week to get there? Um, and so take a minute and 30 seconds to think about this, and let's come back after that. All right. Let's come back together and answer this rubric question. I'll share how I answered this question and who I want to be in March/April. I want to be someone that can share my opinions with my executive CEOs, like chief executive officer of my company, without being afraid of doing that. And so one of the reasons why I'm Washington, D.C. is to share my thoughts with our higher ups in the company that I work for right now. And that's super scary for me. And so, the mindset that I need every week to go there and keep on showing up is one that is, you know, just to try and to see how it goes. And I know that trying is not going to kill me by sharing my voice, is not going to, uh, you know, kill me and help me, and like, nothing catastrophic is going to happen to me, in that. And so I want to be able to try, and I want to have a positive mindset to know that chances are, it's going to go well, and I'm going to get, a good outcome out of that. And so I want to hear from a couple of you as to like, who do you want to be? What do you want to achieve in 12 weeks? And get a sense on what that looks like for you. And so, Julian, I'm curious to hear from you first. Like, what do you want to be in 12 weeks?
In 12 weeks, I think I want to be someone who's more productive, organized, and consistent with my work. I want to be able to manage my time better and take most of my responsibilities more seriously. And to reach this, I plan to practice and stay disciplined and focused each week by setting priorities and limiting any distractions.
Yeah, that's great. If you want to be a more productive, more organized person, goal setting is definitely a tool that you can use to get there. And so, thanks for sharing that with us. Um, Melanie, how did you answer this question?
There's two Melanies, but I can go ahead and
Oh,
share
yeah.
mine.
Sorry. Yeah, Melanie Cruz, go for it.
Oh, okay. So the way I answered this question was that by the end of these 12 weeks, I want to be somebody like more confident and open-minded. I want to be able to like take on new risk without having to like second guess or be scared to like take on that extra step. And I feel like recently I have been feeling like confident with myself, and it has like already opened so many doors and has allowed me to like meet new people. So just like being comfortable with myself, and yeah, I feel like that would be something that I want to practice each week.
Yeah, that's awesome that, you want to practice showing up confidently, and the fact that you have been already and it's been going well. And that's super motivating. And that's super encouraging for me to hear as well. And so keep it going, keep showing up. And, if it's already paying dividends right now, it'll even pay more off, in the future. So thanks for sharing that with us. Um, all right, let's hear from um, let's see. Um, Arlene, like, how did you answer this question?
I put by the end of 12 weeks, I want to develop like better study and work habits. And in order to practice this, I like need to manage my time a bit better and just try to stop procrastinating.
Yeah. Um, that's all very true. To have better time management. And you're gonna slip, and it's not gonna go 100% to plan. But I hope that in those moments that you would pick yourself up and know that, you have new opportunities to try even more. And so thanks for sharing that with us. I appreciate it. And so these next 12 weeks are going to be basically, what you make out of it. I hope you all will choose to grow in that. And so I want to, wish us all the best, and, encourage us all to show up well. And with that, let's talk about what we're going to start covering next week. If we go to the next slide, we're going to talk about stock, bonds, and real estate. A number of you have goals to be able to succeed in business and like being financially independent. And so I want to teach y'all the basics of investing, stocks and bonds and real estate to help you understand how they contribute to long-term growth. We're going to take a look at how stocks can be used to build wealth and ownership, how bonds provide stability through lending, and real estate creates value through appreciation and income as well, and go through some real explanations. Real world examples and simple explanations so you can focus on building your portfolio and feel confident in making some informed financial decisions. And so, if you want to know how to structure your financial life to a decent degree, come next week and we'll talk a lot more about that. And so, with that, I want to give you all another 90 seconds to wrap up any last questions you have and complete the survey. I want to hear what went well in this class, what could be improved. And I want to give you 90 seconds to do that. So let's do that right now. All right, y'all. I hope that that was enough time to finish up the survey. You get points for finishing this up. And so if you submit before 5 p.m. on Friday, you guys get points that will work towards helping you get that full stipend and get paid at the end of the year. Let's go to the next slide and talk about some announcements of what's coming up in these upcoming couple weeks at YC. The first one I want to talk about is a field trip that's coming up. There are actually 2 dates that you can attend this. February 7th and February 14th. I will be at the February 7th one. And this is at the Junior Achievement Financial Park. And so what this is an opportunity to go to a hands-on simulation where you step into adult roles to make some real-world decisions on finances. And so in that, we're going to give you some real-life simulations to be able to practice some of the things that we're going to talk about next week, like real estate and stock and bonds and investments and things like that. It's a great way to have some fun and really apply what you've learned in these sessions in that forum as well. So the deadline to RSVP is January 30th. There's a link in the chat to help you do that. Our next, and that's 4 points. Our next thing to talk about is Ignite Speaker Series. Our first one is going to be on February 2nd with Miller McCoy as a speaker. He is going to teach you how to turn your interest into real skills and opportunities. He'll also talk about finding your first passion, starting before you feel ready, and using limitations as leverage, and why passion only works when paired with discipline. And so the RSVP for that is January 30th, and you can get up to 2 points for coming to that session as well. The last thing to mention is that if you're part of our college match program, maybe you can fill out that survey. It'll help us keep track of whether you're in the program as well. And so in that, please do fill out the form to help us have that information. And we would super appreciate that as well. And so with that, I think that's it for the day. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm super excited to continue this journey with you in the next couple of weeks. Happy New Year. Have a great evening, everybody. And I'll see y'all real soon.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Please send us your emojis, guys, before you go. Thank you, Omar. That's so great. Bye, everyone. See you next
Take care.
week.
See y'all real soon.
Bye.
Bye.